Hello and welcome to another edition of King Joe's. In this edition, we are doing the 100 subs to War Call of Duty. William, this is for you, brother. Let's see, here we go. Oh, shice. Boom. War Call of Duty 420.
For at least a month. And
here's this video for his contest.
I'm not going to be able to ship out to overseas.
Yes.
And it cost me $4 outside of the USA. Another contest and I will ship over.
Let's get to the
question number one.
Here.
If there is a superhero in either DC or Marvel that you wish never existed or was never created, it could be a villain or a superhero. If you wish they were never created, who would they be and why?
Good question. I pondered this, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm still pondering it. To me, any hero, any villain, they all have their place. They were all created for a reason. God, it's like, you know, who would I get rid of in the world? It's like, I don't have that power to choose, so I choose no one. Yes, there are guys I don't particularly care for. You know, I never particularly cared for Psycho Pirate, but hey, he had a big part in Crisis. You know, it's one of these things. It's like some people like characters, some people don't. So, next question.
Okay. Question number two. If you could create your own
If I could create my own superhero, I already have.
It could be a girl, it could be a guy, it could be a creature or anything.
I actually have a couple of them.
If you could create a superhero or a villain, what would be their superpowers or what would be their abilities? And also what would be their superhero or villain name? And question number three.
Okay, let me start with the question number two. As you know, I showed some of my artwork off, but when I was in high school, before I got even in the comic books, when I lived overseas in Germany, I did create a comic book character called Mosquito Man. And I never read the Avengers, I didn't know nothing about Ant-Man or Professor Pym or whatever, but I came up with this guy. And the sad thing is, back when I was in college, I actually wrote a paper. I had this English creative writing class, and the teacher's name was Dr. O'Mara. And we used to call him Dr. God because he was so stuck on himself. He had this thing. Well, he had us write a paper, and I decided I'm going to resurrect my Mosquito Man character I created in 9th grade. And I'm going to try to, you know, do his origin up. And I started writing the paper to give, you know, the synopsis for I was going to actually do a comic book. And this guy, he asked me, you know, who was the main audience, and I said for basically kids from a certain age group. This is a fictional story, right? Which means not true, right? Well, I said he sort of taken from the Blue Beetle, the original Blue Beetle, where he was an entomologist slash archaeologist, and he found a lost Incan temple in the Brazilian rainforest. Now most people know the Incas lived in Peru, which is one country over, and the Amazon rainforest is huge. They're constantly finding new species of bugs and all kinds of stuff, animals there. Well, back then, my teacher, Dr. God, gave me an F based because the Incas lived in Peru, F. And I'm like, it's a fictional story. Well, the guy finds this thing, and the Incas, they had a deity that nobody knew about that was like an insect god. And that insect god cursed this entomologist for disturbing his temple, and in order to make penance, anytime there was trouble around, he would molt into this half man, half mosquito guy. He had the ability to talk to insects, he had the ability to fly, and he was like a freaking vampire. He freaking drained the blood of the wicked. So that was my one character I created. Now, the second character I created was a cheap ripoff of the one Star Trek episode with the one where they had Zefram Cochrane, where they had the living cloud entity, and I thought, it'd be cool if we had a living matter, living energy being that was able to take human form, and I created this thing called Goddess. And she's been around since the birth of time. She comes to Earth. She feeds off life essence, sort of like the movie Life Force. Because that's like that's basically what comic books do. They take stuff from other places and they throw it into. And she has the power of my favorite Marvel character, Mystique. She's able to morph into anything, male, female. She's telepathic, so she knows exactly, what she, can do. So if you're a bastard, right, and you're like, a really womanizer, and you treat people like you're a rapist, she finds out what you really love, and she'll morph into that embodiment. She'll tempt you, and she'll lure you in, and then she'll drain you like a freaking Capri Sun cooler on a 125 freaking degree summer day. And that was my character, female Goddess. So I didn't think they were that bad of pretty much comic book characters. I actually thought the Goddess was more for an adult themed character. So there you go.
Question number 3: if your favorite character from DC or Marvel really did exist?
The women ain't gonna like my answer to that.
Be anybody.
Be anybody's favorite.
If they were in real life, and if you would have a chance to hang out with them for a whole day, what would you say to them? What would you ask them? How would you react if you were able to see your superhero in real life and they really did exist? Who would it be, and what would you say to them if you could hang out with them for an entire day?
Okay. Well, everybody knows my favorite hero is Green Lantern. I'd be asking him a million questions, like, what's beating Sinestro up like? That'd be the first one. I'd ask him, what the hell happened to why all of a sudden all those years you had a friggin' weakness to the color yellow, now you don't? Even though they keep trying to, justify it, like, it was a thing with the power battery, and I'm like, okay. I'd ask him like 1.5 million questions. I'd be like, can you give me a ring for a day? Because he has the ability to do that, so I can actually fly around with him and have a good old time. Now, I love Mystique, just for the fact that she can shapeshift into anybody. And the guys, we were talking about this the other day. I'd be like Beavis and Butthead going, yeah, morph for me, baby, morph. Turn into my wife. No, forget that. Turn into Catherine Zeta-Jones. I'd be like, that's probably what I would end up having her do, is like, at least one thing, your sex life with Mystique could never be friggin' boring. But there you go, William. Unless you decide to turn into a guy and stick it to you, then that would be just wrong, baby. But there you go, William. There's my contest entry. Which, oh God Almighty, it's quite unusual, ain't it? Yeah, I got a warped sense of freaking reality. But I had to submit this, so I hope you enjoyed my contest entry video. And as who's the one that says this one? I'm trying to remember how Hippie Ray says his thing. Oh, forget it. I know it's gotta love. Okay. Love what you collect and collect what you love. That's it. So I'm gonna leave you out with that. So King Joe out.